you're already going further than the average student might. It's super important to frame it in a way that's more. The ideal common application would have, Ayo, it's Amy. You've worked hard on your GPA, standardized testing, and extracurriculars. But the admissions officer only sees what you put and how you put it on your application, so you better get it right. I collected your questions about the Common App on Discord. Join if you haven't already to be in the awesome community of Smarties. We'll cover your questions around these sections. It's super important that you watch all the way through the video because just one tip could be what makes your application a hit versus a miss. Let's go. The ideal common application would have two things. Number one, stats that meet the threshold of those schools you want to apply to, and two, a clear spike, which we'll discuss more in detail at the end of the video. But the spike essentially materializes in the form of your activities, awards, essay, all aligning to tell one story about your passion, ability, and commitment in that area. Keep in mind that you can still show diversity and personality, but a spike is what makes you memorable. The key is to read your application from the perspective of an admissions officer with two critical words to remember: memorable and contributive. Ensure that in thousands of applications, you're not just one that will be forgotten, and you appear as someone the colleges just have to contribute to a great campus or alumni network. I already walked through my entire Common App application with activities and awards in this video, and I read my exact common essay that got me into a top 10 school here. You can definitely get more tips from the video, but one big thing I would have done differently is that I would not have uploaded a resume in the additional information section. It was just too much to take in. You can rate each of your activities on the meters of these characteristics. How you should prioritize these characteristics is first with impressiveness, then relevance, well-roundedness, uniqueness, and then finally time commitment. For example, you could be in a computer science club where your impressiveness is 10 out of 10 because you won a national award, so that would be ranked first. But if you have two 10 out of 10 impressiveness, then you would look to the second rating, which would be relevance. Let's do a practice exercise. So say you have the computer science club, and then jazz band with these scores, marching band with these scores, and finally you volunteered a lot at the hospital. Pause the video and tell me how you would rank these. Friendly reminder to like this video so I can keep making them. Definitely understand why, and then you can rank your activities in the most optimal way. You don't need to fill out all 10 slots. I've seen students admitted to Ivy Leagues who filled like half of them, and then other students who got admitted who filled out everything. So there's really no hard and fast rule. As long as you have space though, it doesn't hurt to fill out all 10 slots. You don't need to do any extra activities to make sure you fill out all 10 because that could dilute the time you would have spent on your bigger strengths and accomplishments. But don't leave any spaces blank just because you think some activities are boring or less impressive, because they could fill a very special niche and you still spent time on it, hence that last rating factor of the time commitment. It would be ideal, of course, if you can fill out all 10 spots with impressive and relevant activities. I don't think it's necessary to add additional activities beyond the 10 slots though, because they're likely already lower impressiveness and time commitment. 10 is already a lot to have every single one be truly substantial. That being said, you don't need to share everything you've done. Just like I said in my video, I would not have added my resume just to say all the other things I've accomplished. It's good to show diversity under your most impressive activities that align with your passion or story, but don't go overboard. Make sure the priorities are clear. If you're doing the ordering of activities like I suggested prior, you will likely already have things to discuss like concrete achievements and time commitment. You could describe these and emphasize your passion, your why behind the activities to show that it's more than just participation. You make yourself look better by adding a human and story behind your activities. Add color by connecting your activities to objective achievements and also your personal story that aligns with the rest of your application. Internships go under activities. Those and research are some of the strongest ways to show passion and commitment, so remember to check out the link in the description to see my guide on how to get a research or internship opportunity. You should list any honors you have. Local awards still indicate a certain and still great level of achievement. I think that there are still contests always going on even during this application season, but I'd say to win something like an international or even national award, it's the preparation that you might be a bit late on if you're thinking about that senior year. Yes, still list your team awards because it shows your contribution and that you can collaborate with others, but list it under your individual awards. To approach questions like these essay prompts, select a topic or portray it in a way such that it's not controversial or like you're trying to get pity. I think that's an important aspect because these questions sometimes hit deep. Pick a story that helped you grow. Regardless of what story, it's super important to frame it in a way that's more positive than negative. Every word in the word count is precious, so focus more words on the resolution part of the story and your problem solving and thinking. Keep in mind that many details that seem important to you might actually be unnecessary to the admissions officer. Remember to use your words to show your character rather than the event itself, which might have been out of your control. An excellent question. I'll answer this in detail with expert Jason in a future video, so keep an eye out. But essentially, you want to follow the same rule of thumb to craft a memorable and relatively unique story. An essay idea is definitely not something you think of in 1 or even 2 sittings. I'm a little extra, so I started even over the summer thinking about ideas, just processing it in my brain. You don't have to be as early as I was, but I recommend that you start ASAP mulling over ideas casually with questions to ask yourself like, what activity has most affected the person I am now? Why am I doing these activities? As you're going about your day-to-day, be reflective and pay attention to what gets you excited, what you prioritize in your life and really gets you fired up inside, what drives you. Throwing out all these buzzwords that kind of mean the same thing. Essentially, all of these help you understand who you are and what matters to you. Literally, Stanford's very deep essay prompt. Be jotting down in a single master document of all the ideas you have every day. That's what I did, and eventually an idea stuck. And I realized that that would be the direction I write my Common App essay. By giving more time and having this kind of pool that you pick from, where you've definitely given a lot of thought up front, it's gonna make it that much easier to actually write the essay. And it's likely gonna be a better story that really paints who you are and humanizes the 2D picture of yourself outside of those stats. If the idea makes you feel something so strongly, then likely you can make the admissions officer feel something too, which adds to memorability. Maybe for you, the idea will be a eureka moment where it naturally comes about when you're doing your normal everyday activities, or maybe when you're sitting down with your list of reflections and one just speaks to you. The list will make it so much easier to compare the relative importance of your ideas, and you can narrow it down to pick a winner. Don't stress out too much though, because the essay idea and framing can still evolve over time. I literally wrote like 3 to 4 revisions. Don't put pressure on yourself. It should feel natural and truly you. You can spin it in a way that makes you more competitive, but it shouldn't feel forced. Leadership and initiation in your area of interest is what's going to make you stand out. My strengths were in math, so I made a nonprofit tutoring other people in math. I saw a strong need in my school because I was here with all these understandings of math and doing really well in it just because I had the mindset and tools that other kids did not even know existed. So by identifying a need and also addressing it, you're already going 2 steps further than the average student might. What's something that you don't like about your school? Is there a club or activity that students complain about all the time? It's one thing to join in and complain with the 99% of people, but it's another to be the top 1% and actually execute on addressing the complaint. To be cohesive and spike your application, your top activities, top awards, and your essay should all come together to reflect that spike. Even if some aspects don't match together perfectly, you can still spin it. If your awards and activities are in physics and you love music and it's changed your life, well, what interested you about those physics activities? And can you relate it to how musical instruments make sounds? Combining physics and music then in your essay can show that cohesive story. It's possible to get into a top school without a spike, but at the highest level, as in top universities, it's almost a necessity to have a spike to be more memorable. The competitiveness means that they want students that are each strong in different areas with those strong stats, not someone with strong stats who can cover multiple bases in a mediocre-ish or less strong way. It depends on how strong you think your score is to get you in. You understand your situation the best, so weigh 2 things together. How much your SAT score would boost your chances versus how much applying early would boost your chances. There is a section to report those scores, and I think it's required to take those tests. I think yes, I didn't do IB, but I believe IBs are considered even better than honors courses. If you got awards in an activity, yes, you can list it in both sections of the application. Woo, we did it! Thanks for submitting your awesome questions. I hope this was valuable, and remember that at the highest level, you really want to be maximizing every part of the application to be as good as possible. My Common App essay helped me get into one of the hardest schools in the world to get into, and you can see exactly what I wrote here. Also super helpful for all you high schoolers and the parents out there. I know you guys watch my videos too, thank you. I just filmed a video with a Caltech friend where we discuss a trick for making your spike even if you think you don't have one, so keep an eye out for that. Drop a like and subscribe so I can keep making helpful content for you. Peace!